Okay, I did not expect to be here. Oh. Hi. So, wow. Okay, I've streamed, oh my goodness. I have streamed, Wheel of Fortune and Jeopardy and Disney Dreamlight Valley. And now I'm going to stream this. Um, yeah, so there's a chaos event. I am so happy I got the calming chaos. Um, it's on Dreamlight Valley. I got calming chaos. I was getting so frustrated. I was not finding any purple diggy spots, and and yeah, I was getting so frustrated. I was getting mad, kind of. Like I wanted to get this done, and I can't do it. Well, okay. So I finally got the last two diggy spots that I needed, the purple diggy spots, and it was all good. And then for what was it called? Oh, a trip to the beach. Edgar was my Wheel of Fortune and then Jeopardy last answers. I always use those for my uh, video name because sometimes it can be really really funny, like chocolate PlayStation. Um, or what was it? It was, I don't know, it was something oh, it was Prince Harry Houdini. Or something like that. And I think I've had like um like something like rich playboy Tom Cruise, but that wasn't the name. But it wasn't like that exactly. But anyway, I've had some neat ones. Um and then like I said, like I gushed. Oh, and I've got um a challenge for y'all. What is the boy version of gushed? Because like girls, they're like, "Oh my gosh, there's Sting!" or there's Brad Pitt or Brad Paisley, Those are all older I um uh like they'll gush, "There's NSYNC." Those are all older suggestions, but um because I'm sure uh oh, what's that guy's name? Like Christian Bale or something like that. Okay, I don't know, but he played a superhero. Um, yeah, I am not up on my newer actors and actresses. Like, I probably couldn't even tell you the name of the younger Obi-Wan. Obi-Wan. But anyway, well, somebody's Ian McGregor, but I don't know who that is really at the moment, unless that's Obi-Wan. But anyway, we've had some interesting ones. Although we've had some that just didn't go good together. But yeah, so I came on here yesterday and My idea was to just do this for a little while, and then I was gonna hop off, finish my story chapter, and do the laundry at the same time. Well, that didn't work because my sister got on, and uh I've got this thing where if if I don't play or video chat or talk whatever with that relative, it may be the last time. The last time that I talked to them may be the last time that I ever talked to them. And yeah. So that happened with my mom. I had to go to work that day, and if I would have known what was going to happen, I would have said screw work and yeah. So anyway, I'm very sensitive about that. So I played with my sister. Um, she went on the Disney World Minecraft World by Everbloom Games. I think that I know it's Everbloom. I think it's games. Um, anyway, they got .com and Facebook and all sorts of neat things. Um, and they are really good at building. I mean, I don't think some of those buildings actually look exactly the way that they have them, but it's good enough that you can tell exactly where you are if you know Disney World. Um, to where you can tell exactly where you are. And it was kind of funny because okay, so I had to go and um, like halfway through us playing because we played for like 6 hours. About 3 hours in, my sister's like, "Ooh, the Tron ride," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And we kept sending pictures back and forth, going, "This is what I see, and this is what I see," and it was two totally different things because I had an old file before they updated it, and so we figured out that if I delete the one that the world that I had and start a new one, then it would be perfect. And so, like, for the next 3 hours or whatever it was, we were streaming for a long time yesterday. Um, but yeah, for like the next 3 or 4 hours, whatever it was, I was trying to get the 28 signatures that you can get. You can go up to characters and get 28 signatures. You can walk up to them and pretend you're hugging them. They don't actually hug, but it's still really cool. And so we got to the point where I had gotten Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, Snow White, um, Tiana, Belle, Gaston, Ariel, Goofy, finally. Um, I think he was the 27th person I needed to get a signature from. Um, oh, Cinderella, uh, Anna, Elsa, and Kristoff. I'd got Aladdin, Jasmine, Tinkerbell. I'd gotten all of them except one, and we're like trying to figure out who the heck is it, and then my sister's like, "Did you get Merida?" And I'm like, "No." So we're running around the map. It was funny because 95% of the time that we were running around the map, we weren't on the same. We were we were on the same world, but she was on her version for her Xbox, and I was on my version for my Xbox. We weren't on each other's world, although you can do that. It was really cool because we had me and my sister and my son and my niece I want to say we had somebody else too. But anyway, and me. And we were all on the Jungle Cruise together. So I thought that was really cool. That was a while ago. That was sometime last year. And it was like, they could only go on the world because I had it, because nobody else had it at the time. But then, oh, my boombox's insignia. Cool. The only thing I would change about my boombox is that it actually played the whole entire CD because it cuts off at the end. So if you're like listening to Harry Potter or or Percy Jackson, if I ever actually get those on CD, it doesn't play it right. I mean, most of the Harry Potters I've heard a million zillion times. Not literally, I'm exaggerating. But I've heard them so many times that I know what the next word is. I mean, or the next set of words. So I can go and say, okay, they say whatever the line is, and then I can finish it. It's nice, but anyway, so we're like running all around, and like usually if I was on the Dumbo side, she was on the Magic Carpet Ride side, which are two totally opposite sides of the map. But we couldn't find Merida. We were like, what the heck? And then finally, I'm like, okay. I'm well, finally I had to go upstairs. So while I was upstairs, I was like, God, can you please help me find Merida? And as soon as I got back, he's like, okay, go to the castle. And I went to the castle. And then he's like, okay, go, this one, like, if you're going from Main Street, it would be go up, like you're gonna go talk to Cinderella, because she's the first princess you can see. She's not the first character, but she's the first princess. Um, but before you go to Cinderella, take a right. So I did that, and I'm like walking around and trying to see anything, and there was a golden well, like the wishing well for Snow White, but it's golden. And I kept walking past that. I almost went back, but I kept walking past that, and I looked to my left, and I'm like, oh, there she is! And so I was like super happy. And then my sister had to get off because they were going to go to dinner. Anyway, I thought it was pretty cool that they were going to go to dinner. I really want to. Okay, we can't afford it, but I really want to go to dinner tonight because except for that, it's not enough food. It really needs more chickens. Um, except for that, it's not enough food. Dairy Queen's got this $7 meal deal. You know, two of you can get your meal for $7. And it's really cool because it comes with a burger or chicken. I always get the chicken because I can't I can't eat the burger bun, or at least I'm fearing that I can't eat the burger bun because it seems like I need to be gluten free. At least my stomach feels better when I'm gluten free. So, but anyway, you can get um, two chicken strips, or I think it ought to be three, but anyway, two chicken strips, or um, or a cheeseburger, and then you also get fries, a drink, and an ice cream. And you can have anything, any topping you want on that ice cream. And since I couldn't have, since I can't have too much sugar, I always get pineapple on there. The pineapple doesn't exactly go with it, but separately they work. But it's better than having, you know, problems because, you can't have that much sugar. But my husband always gets chocolate, and then I always get pineapple, and it's really good. No, I'm not being paid to advertise Dairy Queen at all whatsoever. I just think it's good food. And I'm glad that there's something else that I can eat, because I can eat at um, In-N-Out, Panda Express, Burger King, and if I order it without the bun, I can have the hot dog at Costco. I technically could probably have the chicken bake at Costco, but I have to be able to have my uh, cheese tablets. And we don't have cheese tablets right now. We went with cheese pills. They don't work as good. Well, for me, they don't work as good, I should say. Okay. So, anyway, we're trying to build the mansion again, and we're probably going to extend this back end here. I don't know yet, but we probably are. Um, and I found out that I've got to. Okay, so Alan used to be a doctor, and for some reason he was drinking a lot at that time. Alcoholic stuff. Like wine, whiskey, whatever. Um, so he had gone home for the day, but then his wife had to get her appendix out, and he's like the leading expert. So I've got to write that into a book at some point. I think I started to write this stuff, but I don't even know if I still have that file because it may have been on a external that broke down. I have no idea. Anyway, so he was like a really knowledgeable doctor, and he started drinking. And he was probably like one of those people that, it's just a drink every now and then, it becomes more and more and more. But anyway, he'd gone home for the day, and then that happened. Well, he, uh, he was still feeling the effects from it when, when she needed to get her appendix out. So she almost died. Then, when she woke up and found out what happened, she almost killed him, but she stopped. So then, years later, he's like going from place to place, and one of the places he lived in was New York, because that's where he started out at. And I'm gonna have him have a situation where he was sleeping on the stairs, and and a horse came up, like either the cop was uh I'm leaning toward the cop chasing the bad guy, and Alan just happened to be in the pathway. So, Alan just happened to be in the path, and, being on those stairs. And he got the scare of his life with this horse, kind of looming over him or almost having stepped on him, something like that. You know, but that it so there's a part in one of my books where Sam Crenshaw was out on a date with Ashley, and they went out to Sean's favorite tree. Yes, he's got a favorite tree. It's it's like a mile or two from their house. They've got like forests on their house. I mean, around their house. Um, in the well, hold on. I will make sense in a minute. Okay, so their front gate goes out to the road, and their side gates on the left, if you're looking at their front gate, um, that leads out into a big old forest, and it's got at least 1,000 trees. So you go down a path from that side gate, and you go a mile or two, whatever it is, and you they're riding Ashley's horse together because he doesn't have a horse of his own. Anyway, you go like a mile or two. It's probably just a mile. I don't know. A mile doesn't sound right, but you walk pretty far, and then you finally get to a clearing where in the middle of it is his favorite tree. I couldn't really think of how to describe that, but I think I did a pretty fair job. Anyway, while they're sitting there talking, a bad guy comes up and knocks Sam Crenshaw out and tries to give Ashley a kiss that she so doesn't want, because because the guy's not Sean or Sam Crenshaw. So, anyway, isn't somebody that she wants to kiss. So, it ends up that Sean comes and rescues them, and they put Sam Crenshaw on the back of Ashley's horse. Ashley's horse is named Angel. But if he doesn't want to be, like if he needs to rescue Ashley, he can be a not Angel. I just thought it was kind of funny that, he's the Like his name's Angel, but he doesn't act like one sometimes. He's not a mean horse or anything. It's just, he can help her fight back if uh she needs help. Anyway, so so Angel goes and tries to, actually it might have been Thunder. No, yeah, it was Thunder. It wasn't Angel. Angel was hanging out with his girlfriend. I forgot about that. Well, she just arrived at the place, so maybe it's not a girlfriend. Dude. Okay, so Pop's Disney Adventures is trying to film the castle, and there's this guy there. If GTA took place in Disneyland ever, I would so be running that guy over because he's smoking. I wouldn't run him over in real life, promise that. But yeah, if he was in GTA, I would definitely be running him over. And he's just like, I mean, both of them are just like standing there. I hope they don't mind being on camera. Anyway, so they get I mean, Thunder gets Thunder is Sean's horse. I forgot to say that. Thunder gets Sam Crenshaw to the infirmary, the hospital inside the mansion. They call it the infirmary on a ship though, so that's why we call it the infirmary. I looked this up a really long time ago, so if it's called something else like the dispensary or something like that, please let me know. But as far as I know, it's called the infirmary. Anyway, and he's like trying to politely use his hooves to knock on the door. Well, that doesn't work because nobody comes. And so he ends up breaking down the door, and Morgan eventually gets there and asks, "What the heck? Why is there a horse in the house?" So, of course Alan heard the door being broke down, and he goes out and explains to Thunder that he's a little afraid of horses, but he's going to call William, Sean's dad, to get Sam Crenshaw off his back, and then he can go outside. Thunder's okay with this, and when William finally gets there, you know, that's when he says that he's a little afraid of horses. Well, William doesn't even acknowledge the existence of this statement. To say, why are you afraid of horses? Most people would be curious and ask. But I didn't write that in because I didn't think of it at the time. So I've really got to add that in. Or come up with a situation later where, like, maybe they're an enemy pirate's brig. And he goes, you know what? I never thought about that before, but... so I've been thinking about that. So, but, like I said, I might have to go and figure out exactly how to write it if that's going to be if I'm going to write it the way I just said, where it's a thing later, then, I'd have to figure out exactly how I want to um, address it and everything, and I would have to go and explain, have him explain, okay, this is what happened, and I don't like to talk about it, but I'm okay talking about it now, kind of thing. And do we explain this before or after uh, before or after Paige marries Oliver? Um, it okay, so Oliver's training to be a doctor and Paige is training to be a doctor. Paige is Alan's daughter. They're both training to be doctors, and like if Oliver doesn't trust Alan, then he may not want to learn doctoring from Alan. So I have to go and, treat that delicately. I, I'm thinking about all these different things. Oh my goodness. But it makes sense. So, anyway, I think the next book, it's either the next book or one of the next three, has Natalie. She invited. Oh, no, 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 no. It's Summer Journey. Yeah, it's Summer Journey. So, Summer Journey is one that I really want to turn into an audiobook, but that one's not the next one. It's Lessons, the next one's Lessons in Love. But Summer Journey is one where I really want to have. I really want to turn it into an audio because Natalie, um, Natalie has a friend named Romeo, and their first date was going to the prom. I had to rewrite that one because I was like thinking that um, I was thinking that she'd still be in school. And then I was like, wait a minute, they're 2 years older. Or I had to make them 2 years older to make any sense because um, in Pirate's Daughter, or okay, in one of the first three, I said that uh, Michelle was pregnant with twins, and the kids are Jake's, and it'll make more sense when you read the book. But the kids are Jake's, and they went off to do something. I think go rescue Michelle's dad. Anyway, they went and did something. I think it was rescuing Michelle's dad. Uh, anyway, and by the time they got back, she had the kids, and they're like 2 years old, and they're like super smart. Like they know how to like if they're hungry, they Jonah, that's one of the twins, will hold up Natalie. That's the other twin. Jonah will hold up Natalie, and Natalie will open the refrigerator door, and then they'll grab whatever they want. Or if they're feeling mischievous, as twins usually do, I hear. I don't think that's every twin, but maybe it is. I have no idea. If they're feeling mischievous, they'll go and like say um What is her name? Her name is Claudia. His name is Trevor. Okay, they'll like go and take Trevor's cell phone and put it in the refrigerator. I don't remember what the actual scenario for that was. It might have been his shoe. I have no idea. Um, and if I put shoe, I was reading a book called Wayside School is Falling Down, and that's exactly where his shoe or sock or whatever article of clothing it was. It was in the freezer, I think. Can't remember. It's either in the freezer or the refrigerator. But yeah, I always thought that was like, wow. Anyway, I can't remember the I think his name's Lewis, but I can't think of the rest of it. Or he's got Lewis in his name. But I'm sorry, I can't think of his name. Um, anyway, he writes a good book. And it's like they don't have a 13th floor. It's a 30 floor school because it was supposed to be it was supposed to be like 30 classrooms all next to each other, but the guy that built it read the instructions wrong and built it 30 high. But I was talking about my books. So anyway, I like a lot of other people's books. Like I love Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I love uh oh, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. Um, I love Percy Jackson books. I don't remember who does Percy Jackson. Oh, Rick Riordan. Okay, I didn't know that. I mean, I knew that once upon a time. I didn't know that at the moment. Wow. Okay. Um, he wrote a book, The Woods Out Back, or something like that. I liked that book. It was a little hard to read because it had words that I didn't quite understand or didn't understand at all. It'd be nice to turn it into an audio so then maybe I can hear it correctly or see if it's on audio already. Um, but anyway, oh, and of course I like Nancy Drew. Even the Nancy Drew notebooks, when she's 8 years old and the story doesn't make any sense because they already established. Okay, so like in the yellow books, she meets Ned in the seventh or eighth book. Can't remember which. Anyway, in the seventh or eighth book, um, there was a house and it exploded, and he was kind enough to get into her car and move it so it didn't catch on fire. And she's like, "What are you doing?" She's all angry because, he's in her car. And he goes, "I was just moving it so it didn't get damaged." And then, they started talking and I think they made friends. Or at least acquaintances at that point. But then in, what was it? In the ones that I love to read from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s, they'd been friends since they were kids. I think they said. And then so in the Nancy Drew notebooks, I know exactly what happened in that one for some reason. Um, Ned and Nancy's friend Bess had backpacks that were exactly alike. I want to say black with blue trim or something like that, or they were blue with black trim. I don't know, something like that. And so they both put down their backpacks by this tree so they could play. And then when they picked up their backpacks to go home, Ned had her backpack with, um, with hair ties and like scrunchies, whatever, and uh, pink notebooks and girly stuff. And then Bess had this other backpack, Ned's, that had a sandwich that his older brother had made with like moldy bread or something like that. And, you know, something gross, whatever it was. Maybe it was like tuna with peanut butter or something. I don't remember. But anyway, so then, of course, Nancy's got to investigate, what the heck happened. Anyway, I like, I like a whole bunch of other books, but I love my books even more. So I've never actually gone into a cave because I usually don't do these. I usually do super flat worlds, but I've never like gone into a cave to where it actually had the tracks already laid out in some spots. I just saw track. Oh, right there, tracks. Like I've never done that before. I always wanted to find it, and then I'm like, oh wow, look. So anyway, but with Romeo and Natalie, she invites him, or she asks her dad to come with her, and because they're gonna lie to his parents and say that they're going on a cruise ship. Pirate ship's kind of like a cruise ship, and so anyway, they're gonna tell the parents that it's a cruise ship instead of a pirate ship, and they may be hard to convince. Even though he's 18, it's his own. It's his own decision, but they may be hard to convince because he still lives at home. And they both go, yeah, sure. But one parent is having problems with. This was something I had a problem with a lot in my computer in Tahoe. For some reason, that dumb computer kept eating the speaker icon. I could not turn the volume up or down because there was no speaker icon, and my husband kept having to fix it. We have no idea how he fixed it because it just like all of a sudden he did this and it worked. Well, finally I learned what we were how to do that, and I knew how to fix it when it did it, so I didn't have to worry about it anymore, which was good. But anyway, so I put that in there, and then there was and the other computer was running slow as molasses in the Siberian winter. Because I figure that if there was a tree that had molasses, it would not be flowing very well in Siberia. Because I hear like you can go outside for maybe 5 minutes before you freeze to death. Doesn't matter how bundled up you are. Although this is information from, I don't know, probably the 90s. So, yeah. Anyway, so they're, So Jake goes and fixes the speaker icon really quick. And he's like, "You don't have a challenge, do you?" So, so the dad comes up with, "Yeah, we're playing an older video game. They were playing Gotham Racing on the uh, Xbox original." Yeah, I think they were playing it, and they're supposed to be playing it on the original Xbox, but I didn't actually say that it was an Xbox, and I didn't actually say that it was Gotham Racing. I just said it was a racing game. Because unless Xbox wants to help me get, famously published, I'm not gonna. I mean, I talk about Xbox all the time because that's what I play, but, like, I don't want to be. Do you got the zoomies? My cat's got the zoomies. I can never tell if it's like zoomies, so he's going to toss cookies later, or if it's just zoomies. I like it better when it's just zoomies. But anyway, so they're supposed to be playing that, but it was like really dark. So I think they had an older square TV also. So anyway, um, Jake, Natalie's dad, was like, you can get a newer TV and it could be set up to play those older games too. And they're like, oh, okay. Anyway, but then, um, he set up the computer to do whatever it was supposed to do to not be slow as molasses in a Siberian winter anymore. And the enemy pirates came and grabbed them. But for some reason, they only grabbed, because you would think that they'd grab the whole set, uh, but they only grabbed Jake, Natalie, and Romeo, and that's probably because, they were the characters that we were trying to get for that scene. And I didn't think about, maybe they'd tie up the parents or something. They just left them there on the floor. I don't know. Stuff like that annoys my husband because I'm like, well, that's not important to the scene. That's why it didn't get addressed. It wasn't important to the scene. He's like, okay. Anyway, so uh, Jake and Romeo get tied up back to back and thrown in a trunk. And Natalie gets to ride with the bad guys. That's not good because, bad guy pirates usually want to kiss the girl. Okay, wait a minute. Or is that the yeah, it is. Okay, cool. Um, so anyway, they get taken to the old cereal factory, and they get, well, Romeo at least gets tied to the wall of the cage. It's like a big rectangular cage that's going to hold Morgan and all of her crew. And it's got slatted walls, so the buyer knows that they're going to get live merchandise. Well, later I think later in that same book, Romeo's like, okay, this is nuts. Everything's been happening. I was going to ask you anyway. Will you marry me? And she's like, yeah. Okay, so the problem is that when they get to Romeo, do you? He goes, I do. And when they get to Natalie, do you? She goes, I can't. And it turns out that when she was 12 years old, she uh she was kidnapped by a well, her and Jake were kidnapped by an enemy pirate, and he gave her her first kiss, or maybe just another one. Um, enemy pirates don't care what age you are. But anyway, and they are supposedly married. So Romeo gets mad at first, but then he kind of understands. And they end up getting kidnapped by other enemy pirates who just happen to include, as the captain, Natalie's husband. So, yeah. Um, so when that one comes out, please read it. I think you're gonna like it. Well, I like all my books, of course, but there's some that I like better than others. Like, I don't necessarily like the first three because I don't think they quite came out the way that they were supposed to. But maybe it's okay. I always recommend reading Esperanza's Party first, and then The Island, and then, like, eventually one of these days go back and read uh, Pirate's Daughter and Misfortune. Although I love parts of Misfortune, and there's got to be something in Pirate's Daughter that I love, but I don't remember right now, so. Anyway, so I turned Esperanza's Party into an audio story, and I am working on The Island. I've gotten up to chapter 47, and I think I'm working on chapter 48 right now. I'm on there's like was it 7 pages? Yeah, 7 pages, and I'm on like 3. Um, so, so, uh, so 5 of the boys got into a situation. Zach is one of them, and Craig's another, and Noah's another. Oh, Sam's another, and then Noah. There was another person. I don't know. There was like 5 of them, and I can't think of who the other person was. Maybe there was only 4, but I thought there was 5. Anyway, so Zach's accounted for, but Jonah. Yeah, that's the last person we rescued. So they got into a situation, and the girls have to go and rescue them. The reason why it's the girls is because if the guys went, they'd get into that situation too. But it's not something I can discuss on stream because there could be kids watching this because this is a Minecraft video. But anyway, so they're in a situation and the girls have to go rescue them. So one group contains Ashley, another group has Paige, and I think another group has Natalie, or maybe that's the same group. I have no idea. Anyway, and Isabel's there, and Patty, Jenny, and their sister, Tiffany. Okay, I have so many characters that if I don't remember somebody's name, it's not a big deal. Technically, at one point in time, I had over 600 characters, like 650, and I cannot remember the names of everybody, and I couldn't remember whose kids were who. It was a big deal, and all of that information was on a hard drive that I had that was broken. Totally broken. It started making the funny noises that aren't funny. And, like if your hard drive starts making beep, 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 beep noises, that's not okay. You need to replace it now, kind of thing. If if your stuff's important to you, you need to replace it now. We've learned this, and it's not fun when it makes that noise because, all of my stuff is very important to me. And, well, okay, there's one thing on that external that's not important to me, but, the rest of it is. Um, but anyway, when your external makes that noise, it's not fun. It's not okay. That's like, your relatives in the hospital, and and all of a sudden the machine makes a beep noise. That's not good. I mean, it's recoverable, but not all at the same time. So, well, I guess the relative is too, because you can always do the things where you take the things and put them on their chest and clear, and they're supposed to come back, but they don't always. 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, okay. Anyway. I've been thinking about all these, different scenes in my books coming up, and I'm like, I really want to work on that. But I need to get done with this one first. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, so okay. I don't know if you all have seen that movie, but there's a movie, um, uh, a Pauly Shore movie where he is the character Crawl, and the movie is Son-in-Law. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And like the parents. Oh, okay, it's mostly about Rebecca and, well, it's mostly about Rebecca and Crawl, but Rebecca's got a boyfriend, and she doesn't want to settle down right now. Like, the boyfriend wants to, will you marry me and get engaged, and probably get married by the time the crops, I mean, shortly after the crops come in, kind of thing, because, it's on a farm. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I probably talked about this in one of my recent videos, but it's important this time because I was watching a commercial yesterday. Anyway, Crawl's not your normal, Clark Kent kind of guy, you know, pressed and dressed and, looking uh, like every parent's dream of a person that their daughter might marry someday, he looks strange to them. The boyfriend looks like, the Clark Kent, perfect dream of what you'd want your daughter to marry. Except for that he's got a secret. You don't learn about that until later, but he's got a secret. But anyway, um, so they go, um, they go home for the Thanksgiving holiday, and they lie to her parents, saying that that her and Crawler are engaged. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Anyway, and like I said, he looked strange to them. So I was watching a commercial yesterday. We got Samsung TV Plus as our TV service. And, like, you got a Samsung TV, you got internet, you got TV service. And it's got the All Murder, She Wrote channel. And sometimes that's really awesome, and sometimes it's like, what am I watching? Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, like I know that, okay, when I'm watching Murder She Wrote, I know it's a TV show, it's fake, it's not real. When I'm watching Blue Bloods, it's not the case. Like I know stuff like that happens for real. But anyway, like I have watched Murder She Wrote before I go to sleep, or to go to sleep, but I can't watch Blue Bloods for that. But anyway, I was watching Murder She Wrote, and then all of a sudden when the commercials came on, and so it looked like this girl was holding her cell phone, and you can't tell why at first, but then you realize that, because this guy walks up and goes, "Hey, are you Susan?" or whatever her name was. And she goes, "Yeah." And so she's looking at the picture, she's looking at the guy. He looks kind of like Crawl. His hair is uh frizzy like Merida on Brave, and it's not that long, but it's definitely outrageous. And he's wearing a t-shirt and shorts, and he just doesn't look like his picture, because his picture looked like uh like a Clark Kent type. And if you don't know who that is, that's Superman when he's on his day off, or when he's pretending to be a regular person. I think most people know that, but just in case, there could be a person that's like from another country that isn't America and doesn't understand about American superheroes. I don't know. I think probably they play those movies in other countries, but I have no idea. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, down way down there, huh? Okay. Anyway, we're trying to put this bedrock wall all the way around. And it was cool though, because it was like at first she was like ready to walk away, and then like all of a sudden they ordered chocolate on Etsy or something like that. It was a Mother's Day commercial. Made no sense, but it was a Mother's Day commercial. Anyway, and they ordered chocolate, and then all of a sudden they were talking like they were gonna be friends. I don't understand it, because the beginning of it looked like it was a dating thing, and like like on Ocean's 8 with Sandra Bullock, um, and some other people. Rihanna was in that one. But anyway, like uh like the Asian lady, she was showing the Indian lady, uh this is the one that I use, and swipe left if you like the person and swipe right if you don't, or something like that. And she totally picked this one guy just because he had a kind smile. But then, like, she shows up to, like, they met in Paris, I think it was, and she's wearing like a she's wearing like the really nice Paris dress, and she's got one of those fur things that go around your neck, and stuff like that. And they got to talking, and yeah, so it looked like it was going to be a relationship because she really wanted to be out of her mother's house because her mom's always nagging her. Because she wants to find a guy she can love. She does not want an arranged marriage. And her mom's like, look, we arranged this marriage and your sister's doing great. Something like that. I mean, I don't even think she wanted, okay, I don't even think that she wanted to necessarily, find a guy she could marry. She just wanted out of the house. Anyway, whatever. So, what else can we talk about? Well, I have to go upstairs. So, I think we ought to end the stream. It's only been an hour, but I think we ought to end the stream. Because I've got an adult today. I've decided I'm going to adult. I'm going to finish that chapter. Um, I'm going to cringe at the fact that the next chapter is 9 1/4 pages. After that, it's pretty much smooth sailing. It's 5 or 4 or 2 pages, and it's all good. But yeah, so the whole book has 52 chapters, unless I decide that something can be broken down into more chapters, or needs to be broken down into more chapters. Yeah, I have to go. So I'm probably gonna build this while when I come back, while I'm eating lunch or breakfast, whatever you want to call it. I gotta quit doing that. What the heck is she doing? Okay, so I caught it at the wrong moment. The lady's like standing in line, and she's got like a sweatshirt around her, tied around her waist or something. And it looked like, okay, so this isn't going to sound right, but it looked like she was undressing. But she wasn't. It just looked like it. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I've got to go. I've got to go. Okay, so anyway, please go on Amazon and check out my books. They're, I think, $20 each. I know 2 of them are. They're $20 each. Probably unless you're buying the hardback, but I don't know. Anyway, they come in hardback, paperback, and ebook. So there's something for everybody, unless you want to listen to the books, and I haven't figured out how to do that. That would probably be a different company to publish through. I don't know, but anyway, I do have 2 of them, well, almost 2 of them on audio. It's not perfect though. I have to go back and fix it. like people sounding like the narrator, the narrator sounding like people. Yeah, dumb stuff like that. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so Pirate's Daughter, Misfortune, Hard Times, Esperanza's Party, The Island, and Adopted Coral, which is gonna have a part two. I just got too many nice pictures of my cat who passed away this year to not have a part two. Um, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, perfect. Anyway, so Adopted Coral is actually $6, and then I think the rest of them are 20 or 25, not sure which. And I think the hardbacks are actually more, but well, I think they're 25. I don't actually know, but anyway, they're under $30, I think, and I know it's a little expensive, but literally I only get about $5 from each book. And it's very annoying and I don't like it, and um I'm trying to save up all my money that I do get. I'm trying to save up all the money that I do get from my book sales so I can get published with a company that might uh, do the promotion work for me. Um, because Amazon doesn't do that. Amazon just does, you wrote a book, okay, advertise it yourself. Well, I'm really bad at that. I'm sure you've noticed. But when I do remember something from one of my books I really love, like Hayden walking down the street trying to go home um, after the party, and he's so excited. But he gets to the corner and he sees the other corner is dark. And try typing that into an AI, and they did not understand. Um, I'm sorry, I'm using AI for my covers at the moment, which is better than the Minecraft ones that I had before. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so I'm hoping that the situations I'm putting in there though aren't like exactly somebody else's work. I'm hoping it's like, coming up with a scenario, and like it's coming up with a scenario, and um it's totally unique. If not, I am so sorry, but I need something better than what I have. So, anyway, please check out my books on Amazon. Like I said, they come out in hardback, paperback, and ebook. So, the ebooks are pretty cheap. I think they are $5, and I get like $2 from it. Like I've seen ebooks that were $8.99. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Okay, maybe if I flood the market with cheaper books, people will buy them. So that was my thought at the time. And like I only try to get $5 out of each book. I don't want to scare my people with like, $50 books. That would be ridiculous. um anyway, so I think I will see you in the next stream or video. Oh, wait a minute. I hope you're having a great day. Know that you are enough. You are important. You do matter. There's nothing you cannot solve or handle. Even work and school, or school and work. Um, so I just came up with this, but like if you're not doing so good in a certain subject, you can actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can actually, like you can do your homework and then ask your hey Google, hey Alexa, whatever, hey Siri. You can ask them if you got the right answer. Hey Google, shut up. Nobody asked you. Anyway, you can ask it, you know, if you got the right question, and it should tell you whether you did or not, but I don't know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh yeah, okay. So I'm gonna finish this row here, and and something I keep forgetting to say. Okay, so when I'm paying attention to my stream, I would like chatters, please. I need an average of 5 chatters. Or 3, 5. I think an average of 5. Not that the chatters are average, just that the number of times you're in the chat is average. So, like, um, so like maybe 4 days out of 7 or something like that. Anyway, and I have been looking over, and mostly I see best viewers over here. You know, I would like to see somebody go on here and say, "Hey, what you having for dinner?" Or what, and how many times you been to Disneyland? Do you do any other games? I do a lot of games. I do like 16, 15, 17, something like that. Um, and usually if it's a Tuesday and I'm not feeling overwhelmed like I was this week, I was like, okay, I want to do this. I'm okay doing this. But I just decided to stream Roblox. And I think because it wasn't a whole hour yet, I did hide the hide and seek. Usually I do theme park tycoon too, because it usually takes a long time, but it didn't take a long time, and I was like, okay, it's not an hour yet, so I didn't want to just cut it off right there, so I did hide and seek also. Um, because it gave me 2 things that I couldn't do. You can't go over and tag 7 people and or at least I don't think you can. I didn't even try to tag them. Oh my gosh. Anyway, in times past, you couldn't go over and tag them and say, hey, come to my park. You know? So, in times past, it was, you're stuck with, did they come over? No. Okay, so you're not getting that one done. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. So anyway, I just gave up on that one. I didn't want to do it. But I do like talking to people. You know, if it's a Dreamlight Valley day, I may or may not be able to talk because of the fact that I love that game to pieces and just may not be able to focus on looking at the stream, but I try to look over, and I've been doing that all day today, and all I have is one bad person that wanted to sell me viewers. And I will not buy or sell viewers. And if I had a way to, well, I do have a way. Um, I turn people in for that. If I can, and then if I can't, then I block them. They may or may not just come up with something else a few days later, but yeah, I'd block them because that I don't know if I'm like blowing it out of proportion, but it feels like human trafficking, and that's not okay. Feels like we're selling people here. I know to most people it's just selling names on a list, but seriously, it's like you're selling people. It's not okay. So I will see you on the next streamer video as soon as I figure out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There we go. Okay, so I will see you on the next stream or video. Gotta keep the controller in my hand if I'm gonna do that. Yep. And I'm gonna save it too, just to make sure.